In the sun-kissed meadows, where wildflowers swayed in a gentle breeze, a young girl danced. Her skin, the rich hue of ebony, absorbed the warmth of the day, and her eyes sparkled like sapphires. She was a vision of enchantment, a creature born from the very fabric of magic. Butterflies, delicate and iridescent, flitted around her, drawn by an invisible force. Their wings painted the air with hues of azure, amethyst, and gold. Each flutter was a whispered secret, a promise of wonder. And so, the meadows became a kaleidoscope of colors, the girl twirling, the butterflies weaving their own dance. Each hue held a story, a memory, and the villagers watched, their hearts alight with wonder. The girl laughed, her voice like the tinkling of wind chimes, as she chased them through the tall grass. Her laughter, oh, it was a symphony woven from the threads of joy and wonder. When she laughed, the world paused, as if holding its breath to savor the magic. The villagers watched from afar, their eyes wide with awe. They had never seen anyone quite like her. She moved with a grace that defied mortal limitations, her bare feet barely touching the earth. Her hair, a cascade of tight curls, framed her face like a halo. They whispered among themselves, weaving tales of her origin. "A spirit, surely," said old Aloan, her gnarled fingers pointing toward the girl. "One of the ancient ones, returned to our world." "Or a lost princess," mused young Thomas, his cheeks flushed with excitement. "Escaped from a castle hidden beyond the hills." The girl paid no heed to their speculations. Her heart beat in rhythm with the meadows, the pulse of life, the promise of adventure. She twirled, her skirts billowing, and the butterflies followed, leaving trails of stardust in their wake. Loneliness was a foreign concept to her. She reveled in her solitude, finding solace in the company of flowers, insects, and the whispering wind. The villagers watched, their gazes hungry for the magic that clung to her like dewdrops on morning petals. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the meadows, the girl paused. Her sapphire eyes met those of a young man, a blacksmith's apprentice named Reese. His hands were calloused, his face smudged with soot, but his gaze held a hunger that matched the villagers. "Who are you?" Reese asked, stepping closer. His voice trembled, as if he feared the answer. The girl smiled, and it was 1,000 sunrises breaking through storm clouds. "I am," she said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries, "a wanderer, a dreamer, a seeker of forgotten tales." Reese's expression was a masterpiece of wonder and awe. As the girl emerged from the meadow's edge, her dress caught the sunlight, transforming her into something ethereal, a creature of dreams and magic. His eyes widened, pupils dilating as if trying to drink in every detail. His roughened hands, accustomed to the weight of hammers and tongs, trembled. For a moment, he forgot the forge, the anvil, and the mundane world. All that existed was her, the girl with sapphire eyes and the gown that defied reality. His breath hitched. The villagers, too, held their collective breath, sensing that they were witnessing something extraordinary. Reese's gaze traced the delicate silver embroidery on the bodice, the stars that seemed to pulse with their own heartbeat. He followed the curve of her collarbones, the gentle slope of her shoulders, and the bell sleeves that whispered secrets of moon phases and butterfly wings. But it was the skirt that stole his reason. Layers upon layers of midnight blue and sapphire cascaded around her, swirling like a celestial storm. The uneven hem teased him, revealing glimpses of her ankles, the arches of her feet. Each fold of fabric seemed to hold a memory, a promise, and Reese wondered if he had stumbled into a fairy tale. And her eyes, the sapphire eyes that held galaxies within, met his. In them, he saw longing, mischief, and a vulnerability that pierced his heart. She was more than a girl, She was a bridge between worlds, a melody that resonated in his bones. Rhys took a step toward her. He wanted to touch the fabric, feel its otherworldly texture against his calloused fingertips. He wanted to ask her where she came from, why she danced with butterflies, and why her laughter echoed like a forgotten song. Rhys reached out, his fingers brushing hers. "Stay," he whispered. "With me. In this village. Let us unravel your mysteries together." His heart beat like a blacksmith's hammer against an anvil. But the girl shook her head. "I am ephemeral," she replied. "A fleeting moment in your mortal tapestry. But remember me, Rhys. Remember the girl who danced with butterflies, and perhaps you'll find magic even in the ordinary." And with that, she spun once more, her laughter echoing across the meadows. The butterflies lifted her, carrying her toward the setting sun. Rhys watched, tears in his eyes, as she vanished into the golden light. Rhys, the blacksmith's apprentice, stood at the edge of the meadows, his heart torn between longing and wonder. The girl with sapphire eyes had vanished into the golden light, leaving behind a trail of stardust and unanswered questions. In the days that followed, Rhys couldn't shake the memory of her laughter, the way she danced with the butterflies. The villagers whispered about her, weaving tales that grew more fantastical with each retelling. Some said she was a spirit, others a lost princess. But Rhys knew the truth. He had glimpsed magic, and it had imprinted itself upon his soul. He returned to his forge, hammer in hand, but the rhythm of his work had changed. The mundane tasks, the shaping of horseshoes, the mending of plows no longer held the same allure. His eyes strayed to the meadows, where the wildflowers still swayed, as if waiting for her return. Loneliness settled over Rhys like a heavy cloak. He missed the girl's laughter, the way she twirled with abandon. He wondered if he would ever see her again, or if she was destined to remain a fleeting dream. One moonlit night, as Rhys stoked the forge, a stranger arrived in the village. His cloak was as dark as midnight, and his eyes held secrets. He introduced himself as Eldrick, a wanderer like the girl with sapphire eyes. "I seek stories," Eldrick said, his voice a low murmur. "Legends of old, forgotten magic. Tell me, blacksmith, have you seen wonders beyond the ordinary?" Rhys hesitated, then spoke of the girl, the way she danced, the butterflies, the way she vanished into the sunset. Eldrick listened, his eyes gleaming with interest. "Ah, the ephemeral ones," Eldrick said. "They appear when the world is on the cusp of change. When magic stirs in hidden places." Rhys leaned closer. "Do you know where she went?" Eldrick smiled, revealing teeth as white as moonlight. "To the realm of twilight," he said. "A place between worlds. She dances there still, chasing butterflies, her laughter echoing through the veils of reality." Rhys's heart clenched. "Can I follow her?" Eldrick's gaze held ancient wisdom. "Perhaps," he said. "But there is a price. To step into twilight, you must leave something behind. What are you willing to sacrifice, blacksmith?" Rhys thought of his forge, his village, the life he knew. But the ache in his chest was stronger, the ache for magic, for the girl who had touched his soul. He made his decision. At dusk, Rhys stood at the edge of the meadows, the air thick with possibility. Eldrick had given him a silver key, an artifact that shimmered like stardust. "Unlock the veil," Eldrick had instructed, "and step into the unknown." Rhys inserted the key into the air itself, turning it with trembling hands. The world wavered, colors bleeding into one another. And then he stepped through. Twilight embraced him, a place of half-light and endless horizons. The girl awaited him, her sapphire eyes alight with recognition. "Rhys," she whispered, and he knew he had found his place in the tapestry of magic. They danced, the butterflies swirling around them, and Reese laughed, a sound that echoed through realms. The villagers would tell stories of his disappearance, but they would never know the truth, the blacksmith who became a legend, who chose wonder over the ordinary. And so, Reese and the girl danced, their love a bridge between worlds. In twilight, they were eternal. And the meadows held their secret, forever. The villagers would tell her story for generations to come, the girl with sapphire eyes, the one who danced alone in the meadows. And each time they did, they would feel a flutter in their hearts, as if the magic still lingered, waiting to be discovered again. And so, the meadows held their secret, and the girl became a legend.